Hi, this is Michael, and this is my review of the Avalon water dispenser. This provides three types of water. You can either have cold water, room temperature water, or heated water, and you can optionally decide whether you want heated and cold water active or not. In other words, there's a switch on the back that can toggle the heater and the cooler for the water. Now this can hold either a 3-gallon or a 5-gallon, and I suppose a 4-gallon if you could find one, water bottle. And they have a nice little hook here on the inside of the door to temporarily hang the attachment that goes into the water bottle, so that makes it convenient and keeps it more sanitary. So once you've taken the cap off the water bottle, there's a couple kinds of caps for water bottles. Some of them you can just stick this right through a small piece of foam in the middle of the water bottle. You peel off a little tab and then you can stick it right through, so you don't even have to take the cap off. But in this case I took the cap off, and you just insert this into the bottle like that, and that is all you have to do, and then you just slide this back into the machine. Now there's a drip tray here, and it actually has a little float which will rise up, and you'll see the little red float there, just to give you a visual indication. It's a little tricky getting this out. It doesn't just come out quite as easily as I would like, but it does come out like this, and here is the little float thing that I was talking about. So as the water level rises, that just rises up so you can see. So you can take this out for cleaning and for draining, and it just snaps back in again. We have some indicators here. This does also have a self-cleaning function, which is turned on by a button on the back that you have to hold for about 5 seconds. Then you've got heated water, room temperature water, cold water. This is the hot water button, this is the room temperature button, and this is the cold button here. So each one of those has its own separate spout. So you can't, you have to be a little careful. You don't want to absent-mindedly put it under this one if you're pushing the middle button, otherwise water will just go into the drip tray. So I find that the hot water comes out at about 190 degrees, which is really great. Certainly hot enough for making tea or instant coffee or instant soups, anything like that. And then the cold water comes out, I think it was about 42, 45 degrees. And then the room temperature, obviously, it's going to be whatever room temperature you've got. The hot button does have a little safety, sort of a safety button here that you have to push over before you can push it down. That's sort of a child safety feature. And let me just spin this around on the back so you can see what I'm talking about as far as the buttons on the back. So these are the three buttons here. One of them is for the hot water, one of them is for the cold water, and the other one is for a little LED light that shines down towards the drip tray, so you can access this even in the dark. You can see where you are. And then this is the button over here which turns the self-cleaning function on. So this has actually got a little heater element in it, and it does have a little actual cooler element as well. So it's really chilling the water and making the water hot. Now the hot water, you can only get about 4 cups of water out of it in a row before you run out of hot water. But that water is going to come out at about 190 degrees. By the time you've gotten to the 4th cup of water, that temperature drops to 145 degrees, so that's really not hot enough. But the first 3 cups, cups 1 through 3, came out at 190 degrees. And then the cold water, again, I measured it at about 40 degrees, and as you take more cold water out of there, eventually you're going to run out of really cold water. And around cup 5, the temperature was about 49 degrees. I think this unit is quite attractive. It certainly looks like it's of a quality level of a commercial water dispenser. But the fact that this is for home use, I think is fantastic. It's a really nice unit. It's quite quiet in operation, and obviously when the refrigeration kicks in, it makes a little bit of a noise, but it's certainly not objectionable. It does take a few minutes after you first put in your first jug of water and plug it in. It goes through a process where it's sucking water into the holding tanks, and that does take a little while. But after about 20 minutes, you're about good to go for most operations. I really like it. It seems to be well made. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll answer if I can. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Using this Avalon water cooler and heater in our training room in our shop. This is a very nice professional looking unit. I do like that it has individual switches in the back that control whether you can use the hot or cold. If you had concerns you need hot water, you could just turn that function off. The unit itself can handle both the 3-gallon or the 5-gallon water bottles. We actually just have the 3-gallon in right now. They're very easy to insert. The instructions are pretty clear. It literally had it up and running in minutes after unboxing it. I like that the cold water comes out of its own dispenser, so it's not going to have any problems if somebody just used the hot water ahead of you. There is a room temperature as well, and you'll note that it also has a hot. In order to activate the hot, you have to push it, and then the whole thing goes. Of course, I just missed, but anyway, it's very, very hot. After turning this on for the first time, the hot will be ready in roughly 10 minutes. It says to wait an hour for the cold water, although I noticed it was pretty cold even after just about a half hour of being on. Again, very professional looking unit. This has been a big hit with my students in our classroom, and it's a good unit.
I'm going portrait mode, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to fill these 2 empty glasses, identical size, using the buttons here at the same time. Room temp in the middle is anemic. Seriously. Done. Really?
I received this water cooler from 1 hour ago with this damage, and there is a broken little broken here.
Nothing coming out. Piece of crap.